Welcome, everybody, to Straight Shoot, a wrestling podcast. It's been a little bit of a hiatus. We've taken some time off here to enjoy the holidays with our friends and family, but we are back to being a weekly independent podcast. Steve, how was your holidays?
It was a rough one, Santi. I think it was a rough one for yourself as well, but we got through it. We got into 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us, and I look forward to 2022 and seeing what the podcast brings.
Yeah.
What about you, Sal?
I mean, same thing. I don't think that we're allowed to say the name of the forbidden disease on YouTube. I'm pretty sure that suppresses the video. So let's not say it. It rhymes with Lovid. I couldn't think of anything else that rhymed with it. That's not even a word. But yeah, no, I mean, I got through it. Got some good gifts. It was a good time. I considered buying tickets to the wrestling live show here in Kitchener, Ontario, but it looks like it may not have been a good idea to buy those with all the lockdowns that are happening. You have tickets to that, right?
I have fifth row tickets right next to the aisle, so
I mean, fingers crossed, man. I think I don't think it's gonna run. I don't think it's gonna run because it's WrestleMania season, because it's their WrestleMania tour, right? Their WrestleMania house show tour. I don't think
road
that
to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I don't think that they can afford to have superstars stuck on this side of the border, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that it's gonna run, dude. But I mean, fingers crossed for you, because the live shows are super. Well, I would say live shows are the best shows, but I've been to enough NXT takeovers, RIP NXT, to know that now those are the best shows. So I mean, fingers crossed for you, dude. Fingers crossed.
No, I appreciate it, and it's kind of funny because a friend of mine who you know very well, she was actually interested in going to this, so she's super hyped because she wants to see how big of a nerd I am when it comes to wrestling. So,
oh man, that's such a shame.
I want this to happen.
That's such a shame, man. I love taking people to their first wrestling show because they all think it's like a soap opera, but that's the thing, like. The live shows is none of that. The live shows is just work and the wrestlers having fun and doing things that they normally wouldn't do on TV, which is why I say that live shows are awesome. So taking a wrestling noob to a live show is such a great experience. Such a fantastic experience.
Can we just bring up what Roman did at that live show the other day? Completely breaking character and hyping the crowd up. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did.
That was so good. Like, yeah,
man.
I'm very over on Roman right now. I never thought I would be, but I have to say his character development over the last year, like, credit WWE and the backroom staff for really finally focusing on him.
Yeah.
Like, God damn.
Yeah.
Like, the creative is fantastic.
So I have a question for you, because we brought this up in a few episodes ago when I said that I want a Bruno Sammartino like run of 1,000+ days for Roman Reigns. Has your tone on that changed? Because you were very against it originally.
You know what? It's so funny, Santi. I was at that point where how they were like kind of working through the legends, through Cena, through Brock. We expected Rock. I was hoping there was going to be something with Lashley, with Roman. I was up until this Monday night all for that Bruno Sammartino run, but then that knock. Oh my God. Because I was sitting there and I'm like, what kind of knock is that? Like, who knocks like that? And then I thought it through and I replayed it and I'm like, yo, it's Seth.
Yo, we're gonna talk about that. Let's not dive too deep into that just yet. Because there's so much that we need to talk about, because we've been out of podcasting here for a couple of weeks, like I said, taking a break. But there is Royal Rumble season. There is Brock Lesnar, Big E, Bobby Lashley, everything that happened at day one. There's the Paul Heyman saga. There's the Forbidden Doors breaking down. There is 7-star matches happening in AEW free television. There is so much going on in WWE. But before we jump into the main topic, which is the Forbidden Door, I want to ask you just, and don't think too much about this. Don't think too much about this, because I think that we can talk for like 20 minutes about this. Who is your pie in the sky defeats Roman Reigns 1,000 days from now? I'm saying 1,000 days from now. Who is your pie in the sky?
I have two, and you're not gonna like either one of them.
Okay. I feel like my answer is so out of left field. It's more of a preference answer for me, but I want to hear yours.
I want that horrible, like, that shouldn't have happened that way result, and I want it to be Kevin Owens. I really do. They worked really hard in getting his signature back because, like we mentioned a couple of episodes ago, Kevin leaving to AEW would have been
disastrous.
A disastrous result for WWE. So Kevin getting maybe like a random shitty pay-per-view or even a random SmackDown on a long weekend type thing, that would be, for me, the best result because at least there's story and a violent Roman coming back. Next, I want them to rewrite history with what they did with Kevin going into the US title picture with Cena.
Yeah.
And I want Braun Breaker coming in.
No.
Listen to me. Listen. Unfortunately, he is the next 15 years and the last 5 to 8 years of what we've been getting with Roman. Deal with it. Braun is the next guy.
Okay, I'm going to give you my answer, but my answer is dependent on location, and it is also dependent on the run that this person will have when they go into the main roster. So it's already telling you it's somebody from NXT, but we know the history of how bad they are at bringing up people from NXT. And I want the general, former NXT UK champion, Walter, to come in and dethrone Roman Reigns.
Do you want to find the end of the rainbow and a pot of gold as
well?
Hey,
I said pie in the sky, my friend.
Bro.
I said pie in the sky, but I would love that. And I think it would be amazing. And he needs to do it with Imperium, with that amazing, like, super villain theme song that they have.
The only way that happens is if WWE sells and Triple H takes over. That's it. Vince won't allow that. Okay. Vince will not allow it. And you can clip this, and in 1,000 days, if it happens, you can rub it in my face.
No, I mean, I know it's pie in the sky what I'm saying. I'm just saying I think it'd be awesome. But let's talk wrestling news. And this is sort of a topic of the show tonight. The original plan was like, hey, let's not have a topic of the show because we have so many things to talk about. So we're not going to do a 40-minute topic of the show. I think we're going to do more of a lightning round where we're going to talk about a lot of things. But this is significant enough where I think this is probably what will appear on the title and the thumbnail. I guess I can say that. Where we can just call it the topic of the show. And we're going to talk about the Forbidden Door because, Steve, we have had, no pun intended, the walls break down. And the walls have broken down before in WWE, but not to this level of in-ring competition, where we are having current Impact Knockouts champion Mickie James, former WWE trash can because they threw out her in-ring gear literally and sent it to her in a garbage bag. Different story for a different podcast maybe. But we are having a current world champion from a rival American promotion appearing in the Royal Rumble and is being acknowledged as Impact Knockout Women's Champion. Now, I've alluded that this has happened before, but not to this magnitude. We had Chris Jericho in the Broken Skull podcast, and that was in his height of AEW, right? And the AEW wound was fresh of Jericho defecting, so that was a big deal. But nobody imagined that in-ring competition would ever happen. But here it is. It's happening, and I want to get your hot take on this.
So let me just give you a quick visual of what you've just said. My arms actually have goosebumps, like there's been a good pop, because when I was watching the announcement, first off, I was pissed at how they did it
Yeah,
because it could have been done so much better, and we'll get into that. The only other time Impact has actually been referenced on WWE television was the Kurt Angle, fucking Sami Zayn, KO, we don't have a job. That cheap little,
Yeah, it was more of a little like, I don't know. I think it was more like a backhanded
Exactly.
acknowledgement of Impact.
We are finally getting maybe Vince, finally taking that step back. We finally heard all this stuff about potential sales and all that kind of stuff at WWE. But the fact that we are getting a world champion from a completely different corporation about to have their music play and walk into one of the top 4 WWE
I think it's the second
pay-per-views.
biggest. I think it's bigger than SummerSlam.
Exactly. Okay, I'll give it to you. We already said Survivor Series is shit. Nobody cares about it. I'm a SummerSlam guy, but I love the Rumble. So yes, Mania, Rumble, SummerSlam. But she's going to walk in after everything that's happened to her. Now, I'm going to throw something back to you. Is this going to be WWE going, go on, get your 10, 12 minutes in the ring? Or is it going to be Charlotte's already in there? Mickey walks in and Charlotte absolutely squashes her. And just to prove a point, is the Forbidden Door just a tease or to prove a point that WWE did something and they had to apologize and now they're getting their revenge on it?
Yeah, so I don't think so.
Okay.
The reason I don't think so is because they've been getting such great publicity from this. They're the talk of the town, and for the last 4.5 months, the talk of the town has not been WWE; it's been AEW. WWE is back into the zeitgeist of the conversation of the internet. And although the internet and we've talked about this in previous episodes, although the internet may sound like this majority, the internet is a minority of wrestling fans and a minority of the prophets, if we want to talk about that, but they're loud. And they're usually very anti-WWE. And for the most part, everything that I've read, every outlet, every tweet from known wrestling fans and columnists and writers and YouTube channels has been overwhelmingly positive. Now, I'm thinking like business perspectives, right? Like if they were to squash Mickie James, no one is going to do this again. Like they're just not. Like their Impact cannot have a world champion just go out there and get eliminated by Nikki ASH. Like they're not going to agree to that. I don't think so, because Impact is on a bit of a hot streak right now with the Moose and Matt Cardona and Mickie James stuff. They need to protect themselves, right? And no one is expecting Mickie James to win this thing, but I don't think Mickie James goes out there and pulls a Santino Marella in last 6 seconds, right? So I think that we're here to see something legitimate. And one more point too that I want to bring up that I do want to discuss. We might see this more predominantly because like we are seeing WWE get away from hoarding talent and keeping them under ridiculous, ludicrous contracts, and they've been doing nothing with them.
Yeah.
But with these one-offs, it allows them to pay them probably a healthy payday on a appearance basis. And I think probably for the bottom line of Mr. Khan over at VP, and I'm talking WWE Khan, not AEW Khan. Yes. I think it looks really good. In terms of keeping the books tidy and not having redundant expenses of something like, the Revival when they were literally getting paid $500,000 to do nothing.
Yeah.
I like this. I really, really like this. I think it's a good business move. I think that it's a good use of money because it's going to get pops. It's going to get people talking, and they aren't having to pay these one-off talents hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to sit on the shelf. They can use them for these awesome moments, which I think we're gonna get.
Yeah, and like I said to you at the start, and I have one more point after this. I am really disappointed in WWE that they didn't allow it to be the pop that I really think something of this magnitude really deserves.
So
this is
yeah. Go ahead.
This is next generation. This is what we might be seeing for the next 5, 10, 15 years of professional wrestling, and I will go not sports entertainment, professional wrestling. AEW has been breaking the forbidden door down for the last 6 to 8 months with New Japan and Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and Impact. They were in
Impact.
Yeah.
But I really think because of the magnitude of what WWE is, they should have left it. Nobody gives a shit that the Bellas are coming back.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit that Summer Rae's coming back. The fact that Cameron is even in the conversation, I had to look up who she was. I couldn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that
Funkasaurus.
but the fact that you have now turned around and put Mickie James, who is a world champion at the current moment, in the same category as people who are irrelevant in a video bootleg or a video package. Come on, they did that wrong. And my second point to that is going back to what you said about what Mickie James is going to do. We don't expect her to win it. And if she does,
oh my God, I will lose my mind. I will lose my mind.
There's a 3-hour podcast right there.
I will lose my freaking mind.
Oh, 100%. Mickie James has to come in my mind. And you know how I am with creative and the storytelling. She's coming back with a vendetta because of how she was released. She's a world champion. She has to eliminate someone of relevance. She's not going to eliminate Charlotte.
I don't know, dude. Like if you want buzz, that's buzz. I don't think anything's out of the question.
I'm telling you right now, again, I will do a podcast with a wig and makeup on if she eliminates Charlotte.
Okay. I'm going to hold you to that.
Done. But Bianca, a potential return.
Rhea Ripley.
She's not going to eliminate Alexa. Alexa's going to have too much momentum coming into the Rumble. Sasha's a shout. Even Sasha's very much
she might miss the Rumble with her injury.
She does have the injury, but you made a point about Shawn Michaels being one of the greatest of all times that doesn't need to hold the title. I think Sasha's the same thing. Sasha is one of the greatest of all time. She doesn't need a title. She's money. Simple as that. So there has to be an elimination of relevance. And I personally, some of the ones I've just mentioned, it has to be one of them.
Okay.
Simple as that.
I do have a couple of thoughts here. I obviously agree with you. I think it's kind of lame that it was just announced in a video package. The only, I get it is my only response. I get it just because, we're not in the normal days where a Rumble is going to just sell out easily. We're in the middle of COVID days. They need to sell tickets. A surprise doesn't sell tickets. It doesn't, because you don't buy a ticket if you don't know what's coming, right? A surprise gives you buzz after the fact, but it doesn't put butts on seats for that same night. So if it's a case of needing to sell tickets, I get it and I understand it. And if anything, maybe they do realize that Mickie James is a big deal, and announcing her it will get people in the seats. I like the fact that she was acknowledged as Impact champion. I think it would have been really easy for them to just put that under the rug. But the great positive buzz that they're getting right now would have been the complete opposite if they didn't acknowledge that she's Impact champion, and that she was literally just part of a video package with Cameron, Summer Rae, and the Bella Twins. So
yeah,
I mean, do you have any other thoughts on that? Because I was actually going to push the topic a little bit further beyond Mickie James.
No, I think just my final point on the Mickie James point of things was the fact that Pat McAfee yelled it. And back to what I said last time we filmed. God forbid WWE ever gets rid of Pat McAfee.
They can't.
Pat McAfee sold Mickie James in 3 sentences. And I was hyped. It is the first time that I can actually say since the Trish Stratus Mickie James stalker storyline that I was actually excited for Mickie James. And I don't watch Impact. I read about Impact. I don't watch Impact.
Yeah.
I couldn't care less. But the fact that Pat McAfee sold it the way he did, let's go.
Yeah.
This is going to be a rumble.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Pat McAfee is an international treasure and should be protected at all costs. 100%. So, do we see Moose? Do we see Matt Cardona? Do we see Christian? Actually, Christian's AEW. Sorry, I got mixed up because he was Impact champion for a little bit during that crossover. Do we see anybody else from Impact? I mean, the only one that makes sense really is Moose or Matt Cardona right now. Matt Cardona because he left on good terms with Zack Ryder, and Moose because, I mean, like that's the hottest thing that they have right now in terms of male talent. And I mean, he tweeted after all of this that he wants Roman Reigns. So Moose is in on this. Do we have any of these guys make an appearance in the male Rumble? Because from what we hear is this isn't the last surprise.
Yeah, I've been reading a lot, especially when it goes to the men's side. We are going to get something. The men's pop is going to be something we've never seen. Now, are we looking at something else behind the scenes of a potential Impact takeover? Basically WCW.
That doesn't make sense because of all these takeovers. I mean, sorry, all these releases.
You just took the words out of my mouth. They need to find room in the books. If they're gonna buy Impact and break down the Forbidden Door, that's the only way Vince does business. Last time we saw the Forbidden Door really done was when Vince was starting to buy WCW. You know? And it was shortly before that we saw Saturn, Malenko, and Guerrero and Benoit come over. It was very shortly before that.
So, I mean, in terms
if Moose debuts, I'm done. I'm going to lose my shit. But here's my thing. Could we? Praying. The dreamer in me is praying. Could we get one AEW?
I mean, the only one would be Chris Jericho.
No. Fuck no.
No?
Fuck no. MJF's music hits? What are you going to do?
No, I'm just saying the only one that I think WWE would probably be comfortable with having in the Rumble would be Chris Jericho. I mean, the biggest crazy jaw-dropping debut wouldn't even be MJ. It'd be CM Punk.
Of course it
would be CM Punk. But I think the most realistic AEW name is Chris Jericho, followed by Daniel Bryan. I think it's the only two that make sense.
Agreed. But to shake the wrestling world, look how much in the last 2 months Punk and MJF have been referencing WWE. Indirectly. I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay.
Tony Khan and Vince McMahon struck a deal. I'm dreaming here.
Get off your loony pills, man. Get off your loony pills. That's not going to happen there, bud. It's absolutely not good. Keep drinking, man, because you must be drunk at this point. If you think that MJF is even a possibility. But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of this Forbidden Door, I mean, it's just going to become this silly buzzword like the brass rings at this point. I feel like it's going to get overused. But I think it is broke. I mean, let's go back and talk about what you mentioned about a potential buyout of Impact Wrestling. If they buy out Impact Wrestling, it's actually like this 3,000 IQ hilarious move, because they are releasing all of this talent who is making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then they could buy Impact and now have a bunch of talent making tens of thousands of dollars instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they're probably under contract for years, because that's how a takeover works, unless it's a WCW takeover where you had these ridiculous contracts like the Kevin Nashes and Goldbergs of the world. No one on Impact is making insane money. I mean, they're making a really good living, but they're not making Braun Strowman money. So I mean, that is a great way to rebolster, your talent pool at a much cheaper annual cost. So there's that, right? Because when it comes to corporate takeovers and whatnot, they usually it is more important to get your reoccurring losses and expenses in order. Major one-time, one-off expenses aren't as bad as reoccurring expenses. And buying Impact for a few $1,000,000 will not look as bad on the books than it would if they had, 20 Braun Strowmans making $2 million a year. So I think it would be a smart move. It's just interesting that it's Impact and not an international entity like a Mexico AAA to expand the global outreach. It's interesting, but I like it. Tear down this forbidden door. I want to see it all. The Rumble is the perfect place for it. Even if they're one-offs, I'm all about it. The Rumble is all about that get hype moment, Yeah. It's the get hype moment 2022 that I'm looking for.
Yeah, final point on that is from what you just said there. Final 2 points. I don't think Vince is comfortable going international, especially being into the Mexican market or even the Japan market, because Vince likes being extremely hands-on. We all know this. Vince, his last say, he wants to know everything, and he wants to be as close to the product as possible. And with the international market, I don't think it's happening there. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. When it comes to the purchase side of things, this also gives the opportunity of all those previous released people that we'll probably talk about here to get that secondary opportunity on still a large stage, because Impact does have its solid following. And if you think about it, what Vince has just done by demolishing Hunter's version of NXT, you could also see Hunter, when he comes back, running Impact in a very similar format. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe it's like that secondary stepping stone, So there's so many opportunities there, and we'll find out in the next couple of months probably if Impact gets bought by WWE. I think we have just opened a completely new, that quote, indie market, but in the WWE format. And what you said about what they make at Impact, think about what they make at NXT. They're still thousands of dollars above Impact when they're at NXT. So I agree with you tenfold. If this is a purchase made by WWE, this is a very, very smart purchase. Simple as that.
Yeah. No, I think we're on board there. I think we should probably move on from this topic.
Yeah.
What do we have next, Steve?
We got a list, but I'm gonna kind of go by kind of irrelevant to more relevant. First off, Santi, did you hear about who's been trending on Twitter for the last 2 weeks?
Hit me.
Paige. Now, I'm not too sure
why. Did she do a nip slip on Twitch or something?
Nah, I follow her Twitch and I watch them most nights, and I didn't see anything. But no, apparently with this whole Rumble coming up, Paige has been the most trending, and as of an hour ago, she is still trending on Twitter.
Well, I mean, I guess that's sort of what happens when you only have 21 women on your roster, WWE. Do you not see something wrong with that? Now,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so silly. Anyways,
I don't know if she's
yeah.
been cleared, but I just found that being an interesting point to bring up. If Paige shows up in the Rumble, this is opening a whole new thing of, okay, she's still got a lot left in her for a wrestling side of things. She's only in her early 30s, if she's in her early 30s. Like,
I think she's still 20s. She was like 21 when she beat AJ Lee, no?
yeah, and that was 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Was it really? Holy smokes, man.
It's about that, buddy. It's about that. So I'm just saying, if that's the case, we could see Paige coming in and with something else. So, anyways, that was just one of the weird ones.
All right, let's keep going.
Okay, Bully Ray, Bubba Ray Dudley, on his podcast, made a very interesting comment, and it's been making its way around the internet, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. This is not quote word for word, but he basically came out and said Bryan Danielson's work in AEW is so good, and he was so underutilized at WWE that we could erase his WrestleMania moment from history and he would still go down as one of the best. Thoughts?
I mean, sure. But he wouldn't be remembered by the wide audience. Like like if he were to retire today, I don't think he'd be remembered by like the wide, like mainstream wrestling audience. That WrestleMania moment is remembered by the wide stream wrestling audience and the mainstream and the casuals, if we want to call them. I mean, sure, but like Daniel Bryan is never going to have a moment bigger than that WrestleMania Miracle on Bourbon Street.
Never. And I agree with you with that. And when I listened to Bully Ray and he spoke to it with absolute passion, like I love their podcast.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
I agree with a lot of things that they say. But when he said that, I'm like, that's the only thing of real relevance that Daniel Bryan has done that is mainstream. Next to the Raw takeover, there's nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, it's a WrestleMania where he beat, oh my, how many world championships between Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista? Like, it's bonkers. And not to mention, both of his matches were the best matches of the night. So I argue maybe even one of the best opening WrestleMania matches of all time, Daniel Bryan, Triple H, in terms of storytelling and actual in-ring work. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, he would still be a legendary wrestler in his own right, but it's just, you can't, the idea that he'd still be on par. And if we remove that WrestleMania moment, I think is ludicrous. That WrestleMania moment is his crowning jewel. I get it. He's doing amazing work. 7-8 star matches, whatever they're calling it, and they're amazing. And I'm a far bigger Bryan Danielson fan than you are. But that WrestleMania moment is his creme de la creme.
Yeah, and for me to say this, like, Bully Ray, I know you'll never see this, but if you do, that was one of the worst comments you could have ever made, because I'm not a Bryan Danielson fan or a Daniel Bryan fan, but he would never be remembered if it wasn't for that WrestleMania from start to finish and the build-up.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
It's probably the best build-up WWE has done to anything in the last 15 years. Like, let's be honest, even if it was accidental and it just sort of fell on their lap. But it was so good. It was so good. I think one of the greatest video packages of all time is the Daniel Bryan Monster. If you go back and watch that on YouTube, literally, it will give you chills, even if you're not a Bryan Danielson fan.
Yeah.
Anyways, next.
I've got a couple of more quickly. Karrion Kross open to coming back to WWE. Thoughts?
Yeah, ask Samoa Joe how that went.
Yeah, exactly. Poor guy. And we'll get into Samoa Joe. All right, let's move on. I have a few more, and then I know you got some on your list. Big news yesterday. Corey Graves, after 7 years, of inactive competition with concussion issues has been cleared to be an active competitor in WWE. Two questions, or one question. Is it going to be beneficial to his career or damaging?
I would like to see like a couple one-offs with him where, you know, the class and this has been done before. Someone picks on Michael Cole, that former wrestler comes in and protects whatever's going on, or
Yes.
you know, Jerry Lawler stepping in to protect JR.
Yep.
I mean, I think the closest parallel that we have here is actually Taz. I think that's the best parallel. You know,
Yep.
a commentator, history of injuries, would have one-offs where he would protect Michael Cole or put somebody in that vice lock that, you know, needed to be put in there because they're disrespecting the commentators, right?
Paul Heyman's shoot on Vince McMahon.
There you go. There you go. You know, like during that bout of ECW, right? The one night stand part 2 lead ups, we had some of that Taz aggression. But we didn't see him in the ring for like an extended match, and nor do I think that we should have. I don't know the extent of Corey Graves' injury and how bad it is, and I don't want to, again, similar to the previous topic, make assumptions of what he can and can't do. I was originally of the mind like, hey, Daniel Bryan's a national treasure. Maybe let's protect him and let's not let him do all these crazy hard-hitting matches. And then he's doing all this amazing stuff in AEW. So I don't know. Maybe Corey Graves in the ring is going to be amazing. But I would like for him to stay as a commentator because I think he's fantastic.
See, and I'm actually, it's funny. You took a lot of words out of my mouth. I'm a similar mentality. Corey Graves is, for me, that perfect commentator. He's got the knowledge, but he's still that heel, which is great. I feel if Corey Graves, and this is the path I see if he comes back, Corey Graves is going to turn into Elias or Shinsuke. Not a lot of TV time. WWE loses him in the shuffle, and we see a release in 2 years. And I think losing Corey Graves on commentary is going to be a lot more damaging to losing Corey Graves as an in-ring competitor.
Agree.
And I agree with you with, you know, say there's that accidental bump of Michael Cole and Corey Graves puts a guy in a lock or puts him through the table.
It would be Byron Saxton, by the way. I know what you mean, but like I think it would, you know, because he's always roasting Byron Saxton, just like how the King would always roast JR. But when it came to, you know, actually like trying to get physical against JR, the King would always step in. So just to clarify, it would be Byron Saxton that he'd be protecting.
Yeah, and 100%. And I really think I hope WWE does this right. They haven't done a lot of right lately. But I really hope if Corey Graves really wants to get competition, that they do it at the right points and don't force him into fucking, you know, dark matches or put him over into NXT 2 point whatever the hell we're in, the whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, one-offs are fine. Like the AJ Styles one-off, I think it'd be cool to have a one-off of Corey Graves down there. A Rumble appearance by Corey Graves. But we don't need Corey Graves in the mid-card. We don't. No, he's far more valuable as a commentator and through one-off physical appearances.
Exactly. All right. Strange one at the end of 2021 and moving into 2022. And I actually have it up on my other screen here. Toni Storm leaving, requesting her release from WWE. Now, I don't know how you feel about Toni Storm, and I'm just going to give you my idea on her or how I feel. I thought she had something. She, for me, is Liv Morgan from 2 years ago, maybe 3. she just has something. She just needs that character development and a little bit more of that build. She had a world title match against Charlotte on the Friday and flew herself home on the Saturday night. What the fuck?
I think we're probably going to find out more about this when she starts appearing on podcasts 90 days from now, or unless WWE screwed up and it's 30 days. I'll let Tommy end. Who knows? Like, I think everyone's just sort of guessing Burnout at this point. Is she from the UK?
Australia.
Right. She was in NXT UK for a bit.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe she's homesick. I don't know. It's very rare that somebody who was getting TV time, which I think is the important thing to mention. She's definitely getting TV time. It's very rare that person asks for the release, and it's equally rare that WWE agrees to it. But I mean, WWE has been fairly release happy, so they're probably like, okay, more off the books. So can't complain there. It might have been a win-win for WWE, the way that they see it, but very, very odd that in the middle of a high enough profile feud where you have a world title shot, she asks for her release. So I'm sure we're gonna find more.
It's so funny. Dave Meltzer, and I don't like bringing him up, but has cited Burnout, and from numerous sources have said they cited Burnout. But it's also funny how WWE tried to completely change the entire platform of Charlotte's defense, and that Naomi challenge the other night
out of nowhere
didn't feel right.
Yeah,
like it was horrible. Like I honestly, watching all of SmackDown that night, that game, I don't even think I give it a 1 out of 10.
I think it was done literally the night of, like, we need something for Charlotte tonight.
Yeah, so that's a weird one. So my last couple, I don't know how to bring these through. I know we're running on time, and I know you got some, but let's just talk the recent releases quick.
Sure.
Samoa Joe, I hate to see him go, but he has had the worst 18 months with WWE. Thoughts on Samoa Joe?
It's so brutal, man. Relinquishes, never lost the title, by the way, never lost the title. Never got a chance to try and reclaim the title. I get the idea. I mean, I think he would have been fantastic to have during that transition into 2.0, to have the old guard go to the young guard there. But he even missed all of that. I mean,
they had him working in production as creative for the last little bit.
Yeah, and if you list off the rest of the releases, it's all creative from NXT. Like, they're really, really just washing everything that Triple H built. Like, they are tearing it down to the bare bone. Yeah. And I mean, this is am I surprised? No. Frankly, I'm more surprised that Joe lasted as long as he did, based on the direction that the NXT brand was taking. It is, I think, the more interesting releases that I think are a little bit more shocking is the likes of the Road Dogg and William Regal, and these guys that really have been, the soul of NXT, right? Like, if the heart is Johnny Gargano and those guys, the soul of NXT was Triple H, Regal, Road Dogg, and Shawn Michaels. And I mean, with the exception of Shawn Michaels, you're never going to see a headline WWE releases Shawn Michaels. That's never, even if he's a production, you're never going to see that. But he may as well have gotten released. They're probably like, Shawn, you are fired, but we're not going to announce it as you're fired. So I think that this was just the final nail of the transition into 2.0. I think that this was inevitable, as Thanos would say.
Yeah, Joe for me never got what he deserved in WWE. Yeah, okay, he dealt with his injuries and all that BS, but like he was great on commentary. I loved him on commentary. I think he's actually what we needed through lockdown commentary, because he gave us that little insight of, don't mess with my commentary team.
Yep.
Go away, or I'll choke you the fuck out type thing. Road Dogg being released for me is a weird one, because I think back to the Hall of Fame where Triple H turns to Billy Gunn and goes, "My father-in-law will buy that pissant company and fire you again." You know what the funniest part is? Guess who's going to be at AEW in 90 days? Road Dogg.
Probably.
Regal, for me, I think this is now retirement.
Yeah, I think Regal's a lifer for WWE. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think that he'll ever step foot in another product. Yeah,
and if he does, it's going to be wow.
That would be wild. That would be wild.
The brain that they are getting. There's only, I think, 4 brains in the business that I would say are, if you are a competitor and you want them from WWE, Vince McMahon, William Regal, Triple H, Paul Heyman. And any of those guys go to well, Vince is never going anywhere. Hunter's never going anywhere. But Paulie...
You wouldn't toss Cena in there?
As creative.
Oh, as creative. Okay.
Creative. Sorry, as creative. That's all I was saying.
Okay.
So, final one, or second final one on mine, Big E's title drop.
Yeah, so that's one of the really the only one that I really wanted to talk about, like from my list. I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb here. I challenge you to find a worst start to the year for a WWE World Champion. I challenge you to find a worse start to any year for a World Champion in WWE. Loses his title, loses the rematch, loses the #1 contenders. No, sorry, he never had a rematch. Which is wild. Why didn't he have a rematch, by the way? Loses the #1 contenders match. Goes to Seth Rollins on last Monday Night Raw. Challenges Seth Rollins. Loses to Seth Rollins. His world has imploded around him. He went from... No, I was going to say the hottest thing in WWE. I don't think his run was ever the hottest thing. But I think in just the span of less than 2 weeks, Big E has been completely delegitimized as a top contender.
He's mid-card. He's back to original New Day preaching at this point. Go put him in suspenders and a suit and get the choir behind him, because he has gone from almost 8 years of work and they have thrown him back to the start. Yeah. And I feel for Big E. I feel Big E deserved way better than that. Way better. I don't even care if they made the Rumble a triple threat. Yes, okay. Crucify me. Yes, we want to see Bobby versus Brock. Whatever. I don't care.
Don't touch it, Steve. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
It's Mania worthy.
It is Mania worthy.
We don't need it at the Rumble. It's Mania worthy. Build it for 4 months. Fucking put Big E in the Rumble triple threat. Just do it. Give him another opportunity on a higher platform. Here's what didn't make sense to me about, and I feel like we're just bashing WWE this podcast, but Big E.
Okay, we already had a whole podcast where we bashed AEW, so it's only fair.
Okay, cool. Big E loses to Seth, right? How the fuck does Seth go to SmackDown and get a Universal title shot?
I'll take the floor here because it was going to be another one of my topics. So get this. This is the dirt sheets. So take it with a truck full of salt. Okay. So original plan was to actually have Brock Lesnar beat Roman Reigns at day one, and to have Seth Rollins beat Big E at day one. The prevailing thought right now within insiders is that they are, so that would have left Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins as champions.
Okay.
People and insiders believe that they're just trying to rectify things and go back to that, to have Seth Rollins as champion and Brock Lesnar as champion. We already have Lesnar, but we need to put a title over on Seth, and Seth beats Roman Reigns, and then they swap shows and just kind of bring it back to what their original creative plan was going to be.
I was reading earlier today that is a almost guarantee that Seth beats Roman at Rumble. And I didn't want to talk about this earlier when we brought up the 1,000-day run of Roman, but I was reading on about 4 or 5 credible sources saying Seth is going over at Rumble.
I believe it. Like, especially like if they had, I don't want to speculate that they had good creative plans, but if they had something concrete to lead them into Mania, and that concrete involved Lesnar being a champion and Seth Rollins being a champion, then this makes sense, because then you can toss Lesnar back into SmackDown, and then you can now have Roman chasing. Maybe the plan is to have Big E chase, because frankly, something Big E never got is the chase, because he cashed in, right? He never got the chase. Remember Kofi Mania? How amazing Kofi Mania! It was all about the chase. Him losing, getting eliminated in the Rumble. Him losing at Elimination Chamber and almost winning and capturing the hearts of everybody. Him losing in that, stealing the show in the Gauntlet match.
Yeah.
It was the chase that created Kofi Mania. We never got the chase for Big E. Maybe this is the setup of the chase for Big E, because faces are always just far better off when they're chasing the title rather than holding it. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen, but I'm speculating, like, why do they want the title on Seth? What is the reason they want the title on Seth? Who do they want? Who's the face that's going to have that chase? I don't know.
Have you I'll rebuttal that quickly on 2. First one, it's a quick one. Is Roman's character the egotistical one, the meter mover, good enough to chase Lesnar, though? I struggle, because Lesnar's, even though Lesnar's segment on Raw was amazing.
Bobby who?
Bobby, I died.
Yeah.
And Paulie sold that so well.
Oh man, it was raw, the Rock levels of funny.
Oh, I was crying, but I don't think, I still can't see Lesnar as a face. He's never really been a face.
Hey, you know what? We got the little tidbits of Roman being like, don't talk to Heyman that way on SmackDown. Maybe we do have a turn and he F5's Heyman or so. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Okay, here's the thing. Roman face never worked. Roman heel worked and works well. My second point is I go back to KO. KO just signed a big contract. There is no fucking way up to Mania KO's not in the conversation.
Yeah, but are we really going to get KO versus Rollins again at Mania?
I'd take it.
I would take it too.
Fuck, come on,
I'd be like, am I really going to have filet mignon again?
Like,
yeah, no, I'm with you. I'd take it.
Those guys have the best chemistry. Some of the best chemistry. Thing is, I don't see Big E involved in a Mania match.
But here's the thing, I'm going to throw it back at you, because KO also isn't a great face. Like, he works better as a heel.
He's got that Austin feel. Austin technically was never a face. He's the anti-face.
So, okay, I know we're getting completely off topic. I don't like this, because
Why?
I just don't think that it leads to a proper chase on both ends. Like, is it really a chase that the most dominant WWE superstar Roman Reigns is chasing against Brock Lesnar? I don't think so.
That's what I was saying.
I don't think that's a chase. And on the other end, I hear you, sure, with the Austin vibes, but like, let's not really compare the two. Like, it's not even close. But also a KO chase doesn't sound that appealing either. So are we gonna have a WrestleMania where there is no fascinating chase from a face? I don't know. Again,
when's Money in the Bank?
It's like 3 months after Mania, I think, or 2 months.
We don't have any Money in the Bank briefcases out.
No,
Okay.
no. I really think that it could be Big E to give, so he never got the chase. He never got it. I don't know if that's the best choice, but it's just odd to me that like the plan was always Seth Rollins carries the title into Mania. That's really odd to me, but okay. I mean, I'm like you said, I'm down with another. Like, this is such first world problems. Like, I'm okay. I will live if we get KO versus Seth Rollins. I'm pretty sure everybody would be happy.
We have discussed that Seth has never main evented WrestleMania.
Yep.
And we have discussed that tenfold. And maybe that's what he gets, because he said he's not sure after this contract is up if he wants to keep going. You know? So, okay. Final one. And this one is
I don't have anything else after this, by the way. We've already sort of talked about the things I wanted to talk about.
All right, final one. This one's going to rock the boat. Did you see Hulk Hogan the other day?
Tell us.
Hulk Hogan went out publicly. And this really isn't wrestling. This is just a wrestler running his mouth, I think, and really sticking his foot in it. Hulk Hogan went out, and I can't remember if it was Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. I think it was Jimmy Fallon, and said the most recent celebrity deaths. So, Betty White, Sidney Prescott, and
Bob Saget
were all related to them taking the COVID-19 vaccine. That is one for a person that is so in the shits.
Shut up, Hulk. It's like, just shut up, dude. Can you not talk? Can you just go enjoy your money and not bother us with your
money? His wife took it all.
With your senile rantings of a moron? You have nothing positive to contribute to this world with your mouth anymore. You anything that you say carries no weight for anybody aside from just embarrassing yourself. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to see you. Nobody cares about your opinions on something that you literally have no credibility to be talking about. You are an old, senile man who has tarnished his legacy, and now you're just tarnishing the name of your actual name, Terry, because that's such a stupid, idiotic thing to say. And just like, read the room, dude. People are mourning over these people. Fans are mourning over these people. Their families are mourning over these people. Oh, let me tell you, brother, it was that third booster shot that did him in, brother. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. That's my thoughts on that.
The fact that he said it about Bob Saget not even 48 hours after he passed away. Fuck you, Hulk Hogan.
Oh my God, dude, shut the fuck up.
And you know what? I'm going to say this right now before we end it. I want you to know. Fuck you, Hulk Hogan is going to be on our new TikTok, and it's going to be the second or third video you post. Is fuck you, Hulk Hogan. Fuck you. Shut your mouth. Go hang out with Ric Flair and bury yourselves together. Go fuck yourselves. End of conversation.
Well, I mean, I just called the man an idiot. You just all right. Well, Steve, what do we got next?
Final one, and we're gonna do a new segment after all that negativity. We're gonna do this final segment, and I'm just gonna give people a quick little rundown on why we're doing this. Santi and I, when we worked together, we have already explained we had hours of conversations in regards to wrestling, and this is how we got to the podcast. But Santi's overall knowledge of wrestling
It's the best. It's the best.
Well, hold on. It's not like you wrestling alligators. Come on. But it's up there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a 60-second speed round. I am going to randomly pick a wrestler from anywhere. And I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to go to New Japan because I know you'd cry. I'm going to start with something easy, but weekly we're going to do this between each other. He's going to test me. I'm going to test him.
By the way, audience, I genuinely have very little idea as to what's going to come my way. This is very, very, we're doing it live.
To be honest, I don't even know what wrestler I'm going to choose yet.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
I'm thinking about it as I'm talking. So I'm going to choose a wrestler. Santi has 60 seconds to guess the wrestler. The best part about this is you guys are going to get the reaction in the video, and the image of the wrestler is going to be posted the entire time during the video while Santi's trying to guess. So you guys get to scream at the TV. Okay? So, Santi, there is 60 seconds on the clock. We're gonna go here quickly. Sorry. 60 seconds on the clock. Starting in 3, 2, 1.
Are they in WWE?
No.
Are they in AEW?
No.
Are they in Impact?
No.
Are they active right now?
No.
Were they active in WWE?
Yes.
Male?
Yes.
Former world champion?
Yes.
Active in the 90s?
Yes.
Stone Cold?
No.
The Rock?
No.
Bob Backlund?
No.
Bret Hart?
Yes.
Ah, let's go!
29 seconds! 29 seconds!
Let's get it!
All right, I gave you a fucking easy one on that. Good for you, buddy. That's well done. I can't wait to see that one up on the TikTok. Santi, explain to everyone what's going on with our social media moving forward and where we can find you on all platforms.
Sure. So the first thing that I will say is go follow us on TikTok. I don't know where what our @ is yet, because we haven't made one, but we're gonna have one up and running with clips like this, like these 60 seconds guess the wrestler, is what we're gonna be posting up. So go check it out. The link to the TikTok, if you're on desktop or mobile, will be in the description of the video. Highly encourage you to go check it out. I'm sure we'll post these on our Twitter as well, which will be posted down below. I think a little professional New Year's resolution is for us to give a little bit more tender love and care to the podcast outside of YouTube. But for me personally, you can check me out over on Twitch, twitch.tv/SantiZap. And the other place where you can find me is over on our community Discord. It is also linked down below. Shout out to the professional wrestling section of that Discord because it is awesome. We have a lot of fantastic voices in there, a lot of vocal people. It's been super active over the last couple of days with all this crazy wrestling news. I dare to say that it's the most active section of the subreddit, of the Discord. And we have several hundreds of people in this Discord. I highly suggest that you go check it out if you are a professional wrestling fan or if you want to watch me game on Twitch. Steve, you.
Honestly, I have cut a lot of my social medias out. I'm more focusing on my Twitch right now. So you guys can find me at Twitch /Mr. Tesh. Link will be in the description. And also you guys can find me in the, what do we call it? The Elite Clubhouse Discord. So if you look for Santi, you can find me as well as Mr. Tesh. And join my Discord as well. Santi and I do very different types of gaming, and we have kind of a different community, but we're all kind of blended in together, which is fantastic. And then you can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Tesh. I do a lot of posts with wrestling and gaming. So other than that, I'm looking forward to our TikTok. I am looking forward to our Twitter. I am looking forward to 2022. And I am looking forward to all the future questions that everyone in our Discord, the comments that we get, and God, we are in for a roller coaster when it comes to professional wrestling and sports entertainment in 2022. I just got that vibe. And Santi, I'm looking forward to every single week chatting about this shit. Honestly, let's just fucking give her this year.
All right. Cheers, everybody.